today I'm taking a Nugget Plus for its first service. So in this episode we're going to talk about getting the Nugget's first service done, the cost involved with that, an extra that we're having fitted whilst the service is being done, and also an extra we've had installed on the inside of the van to help with the light coming in the mornings. It's a little bit early for its first service because, incredibly, the Ford Transit Custom, which is what the Nugget's based upon, which is obviously this vehicle, its first service isn't due until 2 years or 40,000 kilometres. As of this moment, our Nugget Plus has done 23,600 kilometres. So you could say, yeah, this is very early. We're about 6 months early, and very early on the kilometres as well. But there's a couple of reasons for that, which I'm going to go into now. So the first reason is that we actually got a long road trip coming up. Ahead of that and ahead of winter, I thought it'd be a good idea to get the service done, and that was going through my mind. And then point number 2 happened. Point number 2 is the first failure we've had on this vehicle since we've had it. But in terms of things going wrong, nothing has gone wrong with it, apart from the other day I realised that the leisure batteries weren't being charged by the vehicle as you drive along. Because I really need to get that fixed, it's triggered as getting the service done early, because winter's coming, and to be honest, 40,000 kilometres and 2 years just seems a little bit long to me for its first service. But there is also a third reason, and that is we discovered on our last camping trip, when we looked under the bonnet, there was a load of nuts all lying on the gearbox inside the engine, and we think that a squirrel has been living in our engine bay. Now, is it connected, i.e. the problem that we've had with the charging on the van and having a squirrel or a mouse, whatever it is? I don't think it's connected, but I need to get that looked at. So they're going to put it up on the ramp and have a good look. And I know it's not going to fully solve the problem, but what I'd like to do is have a plastic undertray put underneath, which you can buy. Now, none of these Nuggets come with, and a lot of the Transits, when they first are delivered, they never come with a plastic undertray. For me, I want the protection for the winter, hence the salt and the damp off the roads, and it might stop. I know a squirrel could probably find another way in, but it might just stop a rodent from deciding it's a nice place to camp for the night. So those are the sort of 3 reasons why we're on our way to the service now. Because of this charging problem we've had, I've had to charge the batteries using the home electric, which means getting the extension lead out and charging it up, because otherwise you find that very quickly the batteries do go down. Let's say 3 or 4 days the batteries will be virtually flat, and it's not good to have your leisure batteries drained all the way down to nothing. So at the moment, if you're following the channel, you know we're not actually living at home. We've moved out because the builders have come in and they have started work now on our property. So we're not at home, we're in rented accommodation, and of course that means it's not as easy to plug this thing in anymore. So this little video I'm going to show you now is maybe if you haven't got access to your to easy electricity at home, this is what you might have to do. So this is in our rented bathroom, and there's a very dodgy electric socket next to the sink. It's just convenient to use for charging the van on this occasion. Hopefully I won't have to do it very often if I can get it fixed. And that's an adapter that you can see, which means you can go from house electrics to the normal electric hookup. Quite often this comes with your van, or you can buy them off Amazon. And then I can put the extension lead through the window and down towards the van. I did ask the downstairs neighbour if this was okay, and they were happy with it. So this now means I can get a charge into our leisure batteries. And if you look on the camper control unit, you can see there that it's charging 25 amps. Quite strangely, at the back, at the rear toilet, there is a little light that stays on all the time. And that's the bathroom light. It's not the main light for the bathroom. And I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, I know it doesn't take much, but of course if it's stood for a week or so without being plugged in, it is going to deplete the batteries. So whether there's a modification, if anyone knows of a way of easily stopping that without destroying it, maybe I've not noticed a way of switching that off, but I can't see a way of doing it. So ahead of the service, of course, we wanted to get rid of the nuts from under the bonnet, and that's what's going on in this next video. My hair looks wonderful. Right, there we go. So underneath here, we have got a little job to do, because
there is a
can you see just on
here.
top of the gearbox there are lots of nuts where we had a resident squirrel. We think it was a squirrel, could have been a mouse, but we think a squirrel now.
I've never seen the engine.
Can you see it?
I've never seen that.
All that down there? It's nice and warm, and he's been living down there. Now we have got an electrical problem at the moment. We're hoping it's not related to that. But
didn't bite any of the
anyway,
wires.
Before it's serviced, we're going to hoover that lot out. We have got a token. This one's got an air compressor with it as well, which might be useful. But to start with, I'm just going to try and hoover it out using that. Okay. So.
Oh, I'm stepping on it. Okay, how am I supposed to
listen
do
to
that?
it. Listen to that. Listen to all those nuts coming up the tube.
My question is, how did the squirrel get in here?
Well, it climbs up from underneath, probably, because there's a big gap down there. So what we're going to do is, I've asked the garage to order a black plastic undertray, which is a big cover that goes all underneath. And we'll not stop it exactly, but...
Oh wow, it exploded everywhere.
Not sucking very well, isn't it? Not sucking at all. Oh, it's because it's a... That's better. Right, try again.
There we go.
That's much better.
There we go, that's a lot better.
Yeah. I'm going to kink in the pipe.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot. Doesn't that blow?
It does, but it blows all anything out. It's something here, actually. No nuts.
Who doesn't want to be filmed because their hair looks
My
bad?
hair's not good today. My hair, don't film me, don't film me. It's not good.
My hair doesn't look as good either. Right. But it doesn't matter about hair, does it?
That's what I remind you next time you say something like that. Right, that's much better.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, that's it. Right, we can go now. Good job. So, you didn't know about the squirrel under the bonnet?
No, you just told me now and it's been months. Like, how could you not tell me?
Another little thing I wanted to tell you about is something called a night air blind. Now, a company called Cabunk got in touch with us and said, because we've got the Max fan, which is that lovely extractor fan which we absolutely rave about. It's a fantastic piece of equipment, and I recommend if you've got a camper van, not only having an extractor but getting a Max fan, because you can have them open in all weather. You can even drive with them on, and it really makes a difference and helps change the air inside the vehicle and helps reduce humidity and keeps it all nice and fresh. It's just a brilliant thing. It seems expensive. There's another video we did on buying and installing the Max fan, so have a look at that. But it's been one of the best things in terms of accessories that we bought for this van. The issue when you fit in a Max fan though is that it comes with a surround which you fit yourself. It comes as part of the kit, but you fit it, but that surround has not got the integrated blind, the blackout blind. So I've stored our original one neatly in the garage until one day I could figure out a way of actually reinstalling that. I've got time to actually engineer it and do it properly, but I at the moment haven't had the chance to do that. Therefore, when you're sleeping at the back, you're quite easily disturbed in the morning. Very easily disturbed. It gets very bright very quickly in the summer. Of course, when the kids are up there sleeping, it's waking them up really early. And also, when we sleep up there, it is annoying to think about this, to have the light coming in. And of course, if you're parking underneath some street lamps, things like that, it's still very bright. So I was determined to fit the original back. However, in the meantime, Cabot got in touch and said they've got a solution to this. Would we like to try it? So of course I said, yeah, let's give it a go. And it's supposed to block out 100% of the light and at the same time keep 100% of the flow. Now it does work very well. I'm not certain it's as good as 100% of the flow, because the flow is slightly restricted, but I tell you what, it's brilliant. It works really well, and it's definitely worth I think buying. I'll put the link in the description below, and also how much it costs. For what it is, actually it's fantastic, simple design, and it's well worth the money. We've been using it now for about 2 months, and I would say if you fit a max fan, then this is by far the easiest and probably complete solution to blocking out the light and keeping airflow coming into your van. So we've been using the Cabot Night Air for the last few months, and it's brilliant. It works very well indeed. And you can see here, this is the one at the front, which actually lets quite a lot more light in than what you'd hope, but the one at the back, the Cabot Night Air, is letting nothing in at all. So really happy with that. And if you listen carefully to this, you can hear the air coming in. So here we are, arriving at the Ford garage. So typical, they're now saying that the Westfalia work is not covered under the warranty, even though 10 days ago I booked it in and actually asked them, and they said yeah it's fine, it's all covered. So I've waited 10 days. We actually depart on our big road trip in about 2.5 weeks time, and now they're saying they can't do this, which is a bit annoying. So I've just sent a message to my the dealer in Milan where I bought it from, and spoke to them on the phone. They said no, that's ridiculous, these guys at a Ford Transit Centre should be able to do it. So typical bit of unnecessary sort of messing about with this, but hopefully it'll get sorted, and hopefully they'll do the work here. The good news is the Undertray's arrived, so they're going to install that. So this is what it looks like at the moment. It's all bare underneath, you can see. So the new Undertray will at least be a nice extra to have. Worst thing is, when we go on our road trip, we're going to have to find some electric hookup. But running the fridge all the time, we are going to be free camping for most of it. So it would be good to get it fixed properly. So this is the following day now, and I've just been to collect a lovely Nugget, and it's had its 2-year service early. Price wise, I don't know whether any of you would have guessed it, but €561. That's not just for the service, that's for the yes, for the 2-year service, but on top of that is to supply and fit, but actually they didn't charge me to fit the Undertray because it's sort of part of the service. I've got a fresh 40,000 kilometres and a fresh 2 years. So really happy with that. The Undertray, brilliant. It looks really good. I thought an added benefit might be the vehicle's a bit quieter, and genuinely, as the Ford technician was reversing the vehicle out, it sounded quieter. You know, when you spend a lot of time with the car and around it, you do know what it gets to sound like, and it definitely sounded quieter, so it sounds a little bit more refined. So I'm really happy with that. The only sort of downside is that, of course, you only find out as you trial these things that the full 7-year warranty package that I have on this vehicle, there's Ford parts and there's Westfalia parts. And the problem is that a lot of these garages do not undertake work for Westfalia. And I just presumed, as it's a Ford product and I bought it under the Ford umbrella, I could just take it into any Ford, or particularly Ford Transit centre, and they would do the work. But no, it doesn't work like that. So we've had a bit of a lot of emails and phone calls going backwards and forwards to try and figure out what can be done. And it sounds like it's a real headache to get the habitational stuff done under warranty. So I still haven't got working batteries in the back. They work if you plug them in and charge them up, but as I drive along and if you're using the fridge or whatever, of course it's going to deplete the batteries. So I'm bringing the vehicle back, and I've now got to find somewhere for it to go. I sent an email to the dealer in Milan where I got this from, and they said, would you believe it? Oh, well, we can't do it here. We'll send an email to Westfalia. They copied me in on that email and the response from Westfalia in Germany was, we've recorded your email, thank you. Due to staff shortages, we don't know how long we're going to take to get back to you, or something like that. I'll put the screenshot in there now so you'll see it. But that doesn't tell me as a consumer anything. It could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next year. Actually, from Westfalia, I'm still waiting for an accessory that I bought 18 months ago, but which ordered 2 years before that. It's only a small item for the back, nevertheless I paid for it, and it's not been sent. So I think the Ford stroke Westfalia communication is not very good, and that is something which they really need to look at, because the product is brilliant, but the service is not. So annoyingly, this wait with Westfalia to get the batteries fixed is not good enough really, so I'm going to have to try and fix it myself. So let's see if that's possible. Okay, so to get to the fuses under the seat, you pull the right hand seat forwards, and then you get to this plastic trim here, and there's two little clips, 1 and 2, I've just found out, and then get rid of the mosquitoes, just under here, it comes out there, and then you can see under here we've got a battery and fuses. So I've just removed the left-hand seat, and in this case, because it's left-hand drive, the driver's seat trim exactly the same way using the little tabs. And I found that it looks like someone's been in here and they haven't told me about it and scratched my seat there. And well, I suppose they've been trying to help, but they've left these two bolts out, which isn't very good from Ford. They're probably trying to help, but I think they should be a little bit more thorough and professional than that if they're trying to help. So I've got to find where they go now, but it's pretty obvious, I think, that it's like one of these to me. So yeah, so those are the two leisure batteries there. The car battery is under there, but the fuses which go off to the leisure batteries are under there as well. Now, just check these fuses. Bloody mosquitoes. bingo, a blown fuse. It's not our usual size fuse though. It's a 60 amp. Wonder why that blew, but anyway, that's probably the reason. Okay, so that's both those two fuses that were next to each other, which are blown. So for now, what I've done is I've just put in the other one, which was next to it, just in there to see whether or not we start charging again. And I can look up here, on here, and it says we've got 3.7 amps when the engine's running. So I'm now going to switch the engine off and see if that changes. Engine off. On. Battery. There you go. So now it's saying it's minus 1.1, 0.9. So that's some of the little things that's maybe on, like the light there. So now it looks like we're getting a positive charge. I don't know what the other fuse is for, but anyway, there's two that have blown, and one that's a 40 amp fuse, which is still okay. So anyway, looks like that might have done it. Let's see now, 43%, so if we can get that to go up to 44 by switching the engine back on. Engine running again. It reckons it's charging it. It says 50 amps now. That's going to be much for that fuse I put in. It's only a 40 amp fuse. That's calming down a bit now. Yes, we're charging. There we go. And I haven't had to wait months for Westfalia or Ford to sort that out. So I think it was a case of the fridge was left on, it ran the batteries so low, and then these fuses blew when the engine started up because of the amount of draw that the empty leisure batteries were taking. That's my theory. So now what I've got to do is try and buy some of these super big boy fuses and reinsert them. It should be absolutely fine then. And I presume the other one, this one here, which I'm using temporarily at the moment, usually goes in there. That must be for the electric hookup, I am thinking. So the two blue 60 amp fuses are for one battery each, and then that is for the electric hookup. So hopefully now that should solve it. So a few days later, the Amazon parcel arrived with some new fuses in, and these are bigger fuses, cost me about 20 euros for these two different types, and I've also bought some spares. Replacing there the two blue ones, which are one each for each of the leisure batteries, and the orange one there, the 40 amp, is for the electric hookup. Then the spares I've secured in this little box for later, just in case it happens again. And then really gratifying to see it's charging properly, 64 amps when both fuses are in. So that's solved the problem. I hope you've enjoyed this little update video on getting things serviced. Please like and subscribe if you don't already. So thanks for now. See you next time. Bye.